Good day everyone. In this video I shall discuss single phase full bridge inverter operation and analysis under various load conditions. Contents: firstly we shall discuss single phase full bridge operation under various load condition, and then the analysis of single phase full bridge inverter, and also we shall discuss quality of single phase bridge inverters. Finally, so I will give you a brief summary about single phase bridge inverters. Firstly, let us see the operation of single phase full bridge inverter. Circuit diagram is shown here. We know this is the circuit diagram for single phase full bridge inverter. We require four the bidirectional and unipolar switches. So each switch is realized by this combination, that is a transistor in anti-parallel with the diode. Of course, this transistor can be replaced with SCR also, but we have limitation, so SCR cannot be operated at high switching frequency. Here the inputs side DC link side I have taken two capacitors with equal magnitude, so that the voltage appear across each capacitor is VDC by 2 and VDC by 2, and I have taken a midpoint. So this is for the analysis of the operation. This middle point, this point O is for the analysis. Okay. Now the assumptions that I have considered for explaining the operation are as follows. The first one, all switches are ideal. The second one, each switch is operated for equal duration, that is Ts by 2, where Ts is switching period to complete one cycle. Now for example, if switch 1, so this switch combination, so either S1 or D1, when any one of them are conducting, so what should be VAO? So VAO is known as pole voltage. Now this is a pole, no? This is a pole. So this A is corresponding to pole 1 and B is corresponding to pole 2, let me say. So this pole voltage, so that is VAO is equal to VDC by 2 if this top switch is conducting. Similarly, in this leg, if bottom switch is conducting, then what would be the pole voltage? This is shorted, no? This is shorted. So applying KVL, you can see that VAO, this pole voltage, would be minus VDC by 2 if this bottom switch is conducting, S3 or D3. Similarly, so here top switch, if top switch is conducting for the second leg, then the corresponding pole voltage would be VDC by 2. Similarly, if bottom switch is conducting, that is either S2 or D2, any one of them is conducting, then corresponding pole voltage VBO is equal to minus VDC by 2. So please keep this in mind. Okay. Now so for T by 2 seconds, so where Ts by 2 seconds, that is for the first half cycle, let me assume that the top switch of the leg 1 and bottom switch of leg 2 are conducting, then corresponding voltage across load you can find out from the pole voltages. So we know pole voltage, because top switch is conducting, pole voltage VAO is equal to VDC by 2 and VBO is equal to minus VDC by 2 as this switch is conducting. So what is VAB? That is equal to VAO minus VBO. So VAO minus VBO is equal to, that is same as VDC. So find out, you would get this way. So that is for the first half cycle. In the second half cycle, so the complementary switches that are, so this top switch in the leg 2 and bottom switch in the leg 1 are going to be operated, they are going to be conducted. If they are conducting, so what should be the pole voltages? So VBO is VDC by 2 and VAO is, so VAO is equal to minus VDC by 2. So VAB is equal to VAO minus VBO, which is equal to minus VDC. So this way, from pole voltages one can find out what is the output voltage. So output voltage VAB is equal to VAO minus VBO. So this way you can find out what is the voltage wave shape for one complete cycle. So it is rectangular, right? You can see that the voltage, output voltage is rectangular as shown in the figure. The mathematical expression for the output voltage, V0 is equal to VDC for first half cycle and minus VDC for the negative half cycle. And it is periodic, it repeats for every switching cycle, right? Now coming to the various switching states, so for simplicity I have considered only 4 switching states. However, you can have more than 4 also. at basic level single phase full bridge operation, I have considered only 4 switching states. The first one, the transistors in transistor S1 and S2 are conducting. Okay, that is this way. Transistor in the top switch of the leg 1 and transistor in the bottom switch of leg 2, both are conducting. In this particular case, the current would flow this way. Current would flow this way. And that is in agreement with the direction that I have assumed for the current through the load. So when S1 and S2, so when transistors are conducting, 2 transistors are conducting, corresponding current is positive and corresponding output voltage would be VDC. So you have seen when these 2 are conducting, so it is VDC. Similarly, when D1 and D2 are conducting, so you can see that current must flow in this direction for diodes. And if the current is flowing through the load, then load current would be opposite to the conventional direction that I have considered. So I naught is taken as minus, so it is negative, and however V naught is always again positive. So again it is positive. You can apply KVL and you can see. Similarly, for this switching state, third switching state, so you can see that the transistors are conducting for top leg and bottom leg. Transistors are conducting from leg 1 and leg 2 respectively. So S4 and S3 are conducting, and corresponding current direction would be this way. So what is that? That is opposite to the conventional direction of current. So I have taken current direction this way through the load. It is opposite to the convention I am following. So I naught is taken as negative now. For this switching state, I naught is negative. And what about VAB? VAB is equal to minus VDC. Apply KVL and you will get it. Similarly, when D3 and D4 are conducting, current direction is in agreement with the conventional that I followed for the load current. So I naught is positive, greater than 0, and V naught is negative, that is minus VDC. So VAB is equal to minus VDC. Okay. So this way, so you can consider 4 switching states. So these 4 switching states are considered for basic level operation. In case if you go for pulse width modulation technique, then there are other switching states also possible, so which I am not discussing right now. Now coming to the operation of full bridge inverter again, so let us try to see what should be the behavior or operation of single phase full bridge inverter for various load conditions. We know for R load, for resistive load, V naught and I naught must be in phase. That is what our expectation, right? We should expect that way. And for L load, I naught should lag V naught by 90 degrees. For RL load, I naught lags by V naught by some angle, where angle vary between 0 and 90 degrees. For RLC load, depends on L and C, so it can lag or it can lead, and of course that depends on frequency also, right? Coming to conduction of switches, so when V naught and I naught both are positive, S1 and S2 are going to conduct. So transistor in this transistor and this transistors are going to conduct corresponding to switching state 1, and similarly this is corresponding to switching state 2. When V naught and I naught both are negative, the other transistors are going to conduct. So these 2 are going to conduct, right? Similarly, when diodes are conducting, so voltage and current are going to have different polarities. So D1, D2 are conducting, V naught is positive, I naught negative. When DT and D4 are conducting, V naught negative and I naught positive. So this way, so for each switching state, you can find out voltage and current polarity. Okay, and the important observation is that V naught is independent of load. It depends on the switching state. Okay, which switches are conducting. Based on that, you can find out what is the V naught. Coming to I naught depends on V naught as well as the load. Now there are 3 loads I am considering basically. So first load, resistive load, voltage and current are going to have same wave shape, same kind of shape. And in case of the inductance, pure inductance, we know if it is pure inductance because DC voltage, I mean fixed voltage would appear across the load for positive half cycle, and negative half cycle you are going to have negative voltage, same fixed voltage but in negative polarity is going to be appear across the load inductance. So during the positive half cycle, current would rise linearly with the slope VDC by L, and for negative period it is going to be fall with the negative slope, that is minus VDC by L respectively. And coming to RL load, yeah, behavior is intermediate between the behavior for R load and L load. So it increases but not linearly. Current would increase and it lags voltage by some angle. But however, it is not, the increase is not going to be linear for positive half cycle, and decrease also it is not going to be linear for negative half cycle. Okay. Now let us consider the operation for R load. In case of R load, you can see that VDC, whenever output is positive, output voltage is positive, output current also going to be positive. Whenever output voltage is negative, current also going to be negative. Under this particular condition, you can see that only transistors are going to be conducting. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 are going to be conducting. So diodes are not going to involve. Diodes are not going to conduct. So diode conduction period is 0. Every current flowing through diodes also going to be 0. So that is what is mentioned here. Okay. Now you can see for positive half cycle, current positive, voltage positive. So Q1 and Q2 are going to conduct. Okay. Similarly, negative half cycle, voltage negative and current negative for output. Q3 and Q4 are going to conduct. Coming to average value of the source current, you can see when Q1 and Q2 are conducting, what is the source current? Source current this way, flow this way, and similarly when Q3 and Q4 are conducting, in that case also source current would flow this way. So always source current is positive, so average value of source current is same as VDC by R. So you can see that this is VDC by I naught is VDC by R for positive half cycle, negative half cycle it is minus VDC by R. So coming to source side, so source side it is VDC by R, and is switch is going to conduct for only one half cycle, complete half cycle. So conduction angle of each transistor or each switch is going to be 180 degrees, and conduction angle of each diode is equal to 0 degrees. And you can, from that fact now you can find out what is the average value of each switch current. So please do verify these expressions whenever you are free. Nextly, if you want to find out the power delivered to the load due to each component, that is also possible. So in order to do so, you have to find out Fourier series expression for V0 and I0, output voltage and output current, that is this way. Okay, I hope you can find out this. Okay, you can do this. So for simple rectangular wave, you can find out Fourier series very easily. So this is Fourier series for output voltage and output current. So simply the output voltage by R. So substitute. So this V0 by R, you will get I0. Fundamental component, yeah, from this, so substitute n is equal to 1, you will get fundamental component. And if you want to find out RMS value, so peak value by root 2 would be the RMS value of voltage and current respectively. Power of the value load due to only fundamental component, yeah, that is equal to V01 into I01 into cos pi. So cos pi is equal to 1, so displacement factor is equal to 1 for resistive load. Voltage and current are going to be in phase for any component, any harmonic in fact. So fundamental also it is cos pi is equal to cos 0 is equal to 1. So it is RMS value of output voltage into RMS value of output current for fundamental components only. So that would be the power delivered due to fundamental component, which is same as the fundamental current flowing through load square into resistance value. If you want to find out total power observed by load, yes, you can find out if you know the RMS value of current flowing through the load. So its square into resistance value would give us the total power observed by the load or total power delivered by the load. Now next load, that is L load. In case of pure inductive load, as I mentioned earlier, so current would rise linearly with the slope VDC by 2 during the positive half cycle minus VDC by L during the positive half cycle, and that decreases with the slope minus VDC by L during the negative half cycle. So that is what is shown here. Assuming initial current is 0 through the inductor, so this is the curve for the current through the inductor. It vary between max and min. So I max and I min. So I max, in fact I min is same as minus of I max. And now how do we find out I max? So we know, so if you observe carefully, we can see that, so in first quarter cycle, during this quarter cycle, voltage positive and current negative, so D1 and D2 are going to conduct. Okay. Similarly, during the next quarter cycle, the current and voltage both are positive, Q1 and Q2 are going to conduct. During next quarter cycle, voltage negative, current positive, so D3 and D4 conducts. Similarly, for next quarter cycle, voltage, current both are negative, Q3 and Q4 are going to conduct. Now, for example, one wants to find out what is the maximum value of the load current under pure inductive load condition. We know this, so this is the peak value. So this slope is equal to VDC by L, and the distance is equal to T by 4, where T is complete switching period. So this slope into this base gives us the peak value, this peak value, that is VDC by L into T by 4. RMS value, how to find out RMS value of this current? That is equal to maximum value by root 3. For triangle, we know it is a maximum value by root 3, right? Similarly, if one wants to find out source current, yes, you can find out source current. So load current is same as source current when, so this these switches are conducting. When these switches are conducting, load current is same as source current. So when these two switches are conducting, load current is same as minus of the source current. Okay, that way we can. Okay, that way we can find. We can write, and this is source current. You can see. So source current average value. So definitely that is going to be again. So that is going to be 0. The average value of source current would be 0 because it is inductor, pure inductive load. The power delivered to the load is equal to 0, which is possible if and only if the average value of load current or source current is 0. Of course, you can verify from the waveform also. Here the switches, each switch is going to conduct for 90 degrees and each diode is going to conduct for 90 degrees. Okay, if I consider full cycle is equal to 360 degrees, so each switch is going to conduct for quarter cycle only. Now coming to the power, coming to Fourier series expansion, we know the Fourier series expansion for the output voltage and for output current. Yeah, simply, so you have to include, you have to divide the voltage by the impedance corresponding to each harmonic component. For each harmonic component, so we know for nth order harmonic, the impedance offered by inductance is equal to n omega L, and phase angle difference between current and voltage for the nth order harmonic is equal to 90 degrees. That is what is mentioned here. Coming to the fundamental components, yes, by substituting n is equal to 1 in this expression, you can find out the fundamental component, and you can divide those peak values by root 2. We would get the RMS value of fundamental component for current and voltage for the output. Power absorbed by load due to fundamental component 0, and total power absorbed by the load also going to be 0 for inductive case. Inductance cannot absorb the power, right? Yeah. Now in case of RL load, the behavior would be intermediate. So that is as shown in this particular graph. So it is going to increase exponentially and gradually, and phase angle difference between fundamental components, if you find, that is equal, that vary between 0 and 90 degrees, 0 and 90 degrees, and again, so this kind of wave shape you can observe for RL load. Whenever current positive, whenever voltage and current both are positive, Q1, Q2 are going to conduct. Whenever both are negative, Q3 and Q4 are going to conduct. When one of them is positive and other is negative, V0 positive and I0 negative, D1, D2 are going to conduct. V0 negative, I0 positive, then so D3 and D4 are going to conduct. So that is what is indicated here. As source current, yeah, source current is also shown here. Source current is this way. So you can see for each conduction case how the source current would be, what is the relation between source current and load current. So please find, and finally you will observe this kind of wave shape for the source current. And coming to the switch current, yeah, switch current is same as, so this current for the for one complete cycle. So switch current is mentioned here for switch 1, so that is Q1, or switch 2, so both are going to connect at a time. So and the corresponding current is this. So this portion of current is due to current flowing through the switches, and this portion of current is current flowing through the diodes. That is what is mentioned here. Now if you know the phase angle difference between the voltage and current, you can find out the conduction angle of the diode and the switch respectively. So the phase angle pi is equal to the conduction angle of diode, and 180 minus pi is equal to conduction angle of each switch, Q1 or Q2, Q3 and Q4. Coming to the Fourier series expansion again, so Fourier series expansion for the load voltage would be same, but current, so we have different, for current we have different expression. You can see here, you have to divide the voltage by the impedance corresponding to each harmonic component, and the phase angle also, so that vary with for each harmonic component. And how can you compute this Zn in using this formula? So this is the formula to compute Zn, and this is the formula to compute the pi n. Okay, I hope you know. So for the impedance depends on the frequency for RL load case. Coming to fundamental components of the output voltage and current, yes. So from the Fourier series, you can find out fundamental component of output voltage and output current. I is shown here. Okay, and output the output fundamental RMS value of voltage and current. So divide the peak value by √2, you would get them. Okay, these are the RMS value of fundamental voltage and current respectively. Power absorbed by the load due to fundamental component, yes, that is equal to the RMS value of fundamental voltage into RMS value of fundamental current into fundamental displacement factor, which is also equal to fundamental value of current through load square into resistance value of the load. So this is the power absorbed by load due to fundamental component load. If somebody wants to know what is power absorbed by load, total power absorbed by load, so there are two ways. So one from the load side, other one from the source side. Because there are no loss components other than the load. So simply speaking, the power delivered by the source is equal to power absorbed by the load. Power delivered by the source is equal to the source voltage into average value of source current. That is from the source side. Coming to load side, so it is equal to power absorbed by load due to each component of the output voltage. So this is due to fundamental component, this is due to the third harmonic, due to fifth harmonic, and so on. And other way of finding that, so because in load resistor only the element which can absorb the power, and if you know that, so simply you can find out the power absorbed by load due to each component if you know the current due to each harmonic. So that is this way. So simply the harmonic current square into resistance value would be the power absorbed by load due to each harmonic component. And further, if you simplify, you will get this expression, that is the RMS value of current flowing through the load square into resistance value would be the power absorbed by the load, total power absorbed by the load. The last one, that is RLC load. So in case of RLC load, there are two possibilities. Of course, third possibility when both are equal. I mean the inductance and capacity effect both are cancelled out. That is third possibility. And of course, that depends on the load. That depends on the frequency. So because the load will have the fundamental component along with the harmonics, so the load current also vary with respect to each component. So it was quite difficult to analyze for RLC load, because we have load, inductance as well as capacitance. So for simplicity, what I do, I consider only fundamental component. If I consider fundamental component of current flowing through the load, so that would be that would lag the voltage by some angle in case the load is inductive in nature, that is XL is greater than XC for the fundamental component. This is corresponding to overdamped case. Similarly, in case it is capacitive, then current leads by the voltage. So that is the case for underdamped. That is for the underdamped case. Now you can see in case of overdamped, the load current lags by the voltage. Now you can see that diode conduct for this period. Okay, during this period diode will conduct. So diode will conduct, which can apply the reverse voltage across Q1, and then so Q1 is conducting, then Q1 and Q2 are conducting. You can see, so here Q1 is conducting. So when Q1 is conducting, what is happening? So whenever Q1 is conducting, so the voltage across that would be 0, and once the current through Q1 made 0, current through Q1 is made 0, then what is happening? There is no possibility of reverse voltage appear across the switch. So reverse voltage appear if and only if this diode is conducting. Okay, diode is not conducting, no. So after current through that made 0, somewhere here, current would shift from the transistor, that Q1 Q2 to D3 D4. So at this instant, no, so current is not made 0, that is point number 1, and there is no reverse voltage applied after that instant. So in case if you use SCR in place of the transistors, for Q1 if I use SCR, this becomes problem, because SCRs are semi-control switches. Turn-off process required 2 steps. Step number 1, you have to make sure that current through the switch is 0, and next one you have to apply reverse voltage immediately for at least some time which is more than the circuit device turn-off time. So that is not possible for overdamped case. But in case of underdamped, you can see that Q1 is conducting for this period. After this period, so Q1 current made 0. Once Q1 current made 0, immediately D1 is conducting. Which will apply reverse voltage across the switch. So this way natural commutation is occurring. So current through that Q1 is made 0 and immediately reverse voltage is applied. So this would ensure the natural commutation. No need of separate force commutation circuit. You know, for SCRs usually we require commutation process to switch off it. Unlike transistors, so simply removing this control signal, you cannot switch off the SCR. Once SCR is turned on, so there is no control over turn off. You have to forcefully turn off it by applying the external signal. So if at all this load is underdamped in nature, in that case there is no need of separate commutation circuit, assuming that this period is sufficient enough to ensure this turn off. This period is more than circuit device turn off time, then there is no need of external circuit to turn off the SCR. So this problem would arise if and only if I use SCR as a switch, control switch. Coming to the analysis, so again you can find out Fourier series for voltage and current is shown here. So Fourier series expansion, so that is this way you can find. Okay, I hope you can do it. Is simple rectangular waveform, one can find out it easily. And Fourier series expansion for current, so simply you have to divide it by Zn and you have to consider phase angle and have to compute this impedance and phase angle which depends on frequency. So that is using this formula. So these are the formulas for computing Zn and pi n respectively. And once you find out the Fourier series expansion, you can find out fundamental components. So by substituting n is equal to 1. Later, by dividing corresponding peak values by root 2, you would get RMS value for fundamental components. So fundamental RMS value for voltage 2 root 2 VDC by 2 or DDC by pi, and fundamental RMS current through load, that is 2 root 2 VDC by pi into Z1, where Z1 is the impedance offered to the fundamental component. Power absorbed by load due to only fundamental component, so that is equal to RMS value of fundamental voltage into RMS value of fundamental current into the fundamental displacement factor, or that is also equal to the fundamental current flowing through load square into resistance value. So you can use either formula. And if you want to find out total power absorbed by load, yes, you can find out using this formula. So that is from the source side, it is source voltage into average value of source current. From the DC side, from AC side, it is equal to power absorbed by load due to each component. So that can be obtained using these formulas. Okay, already we have seen. So this kind of pattern is same. Maybe values are different, but pattern remains same. Now that is about the analysis of single phase full bridge inverter under various load condition. Next one, next important aspect is the quality of the inverters. We know there are 3 important parameters which can be used to evaluate quality. The first one, that is harmonic factor for nth harmonic, which is equal to RMS value of nth order harmonic by the fundamental, overall RMS value. Okay, that is harmonic factor. The next one, distortion factor, that is equal to fundamental RMS value by overall RMS value, total RMS value. Third one, so TSD, that is total harmonic distortion, that is equal to harmonic voltage by the fundamental voltage RMS values, of course. And if you find out them, so I hope you can find out, we know what is the nth order harmonic RMS value and fundamental RMS value, overall RMS value. So, and using those formulas, you would get that is equal to HF is equal to 1 by N. I hope this is equal to 1, V01, I'm sorry, this is equal to V01. So harmonic factor is equal to 1 by N, distortion factor is equal to 0.9, and third total harmonic distortion is equal to 0.483, which is equal to 48.3% for the single phase bridge inverters. What is this harmonic? How do you find harmonic voltage? So that is equal to RMS value of total voltage square minus the fundamental RMS voltage square root. And the important observation here is that quality of output voltage is independent of load, because output voltage depends on the switching pattern, not on the switching scheme, not on the load. Current depends on the load, but voltage depends on switching pattern and independent of load. So the quality must be independent of load. This is one of the important observation. So summary, quality of inverter is independent of type and magnitude of the load. Output current and power depends on type and magnitude of the load. Power absorbed by pure inductive load is 0. Thyristor switch are under load commutation. So under load commutation, if load is underdamped, okay. So in case load is underdamped in nature, and if thyristors are used for inverter realization, then there is a possibility of the load commutation. So in which case the commutation occurs naturally, okay, naturally, but that is due to the nature of the load. So it is known as the load commutation. It is known as the load commutation. This is about the single phase bridge inverters. I request you to solve as many problems as possible on single phase bridge inverters, and kindly let me know if you have any doubts, any clarification required. Reach me through the mail ID given in the description. Thank you.